Greetings from Scouse Farm, from the beautiful Woolton village. Look at these, eh? And I'm here to film something which I'm very delighted to show, because yes, it's old and of significance to Liverpool, but it's also about to reopen again. And I have filmed here before. I filmed here last year when I walked around with my mate from work, Nadia, and we filmed most of Woolton, showing predominantly the bits related to the Beatles and things. But now I'm going to show you the cinema, because it's going to be opening again soon. And it was built, or construction started, on the 27th of December 1926, and the last snags to get it up and running were completed around 31st of March 1928. But it is listed as being opened in 1927, but I think maybe that was like a test event or something, because the official date of when it was opened is actually in 1928, not 27. So it was the 28th of January it was open to the public in 1928, and it was built in a Renaissance style, so French Renaissance style with some Art Deco features. And it was commissioned by a local businessman named Alfred Adams, who ended up being the majority shareholder and also may have provided most of the funds to get it built. And the architect was Lionel Pritchard, who has, I believe, also designed the Ritz Cinema and the Crosby Plaza, if that's right. But it must have been something he liked doing, because he designed a few cinemas. And right now it's closed. However, as mentioned, I'll talk about it a little bit later in the video, but it is going to be opening again, which is incredible. And originally it was 860 seater, so you can see the depth there up to the back by that wheelie bin thing. You know, 860 seats within this, or at least positions where people could watch a performance. And over time it was reduced, but originally being 860 seater, it was built in the style of an auditorium, and it served the community to show initially silent films, but also some live acts, because at that period of time, in the early the late 1920s, early 30s, people were still performing. So you had performers doing all sorts of stand-up and comedy and maybe Punch and Judy type things. I don't know. I'm just thinking about what people used to do back in the day. And it also acted as sort of a social club, so people could have meetings here and things and make use of the facilities. I'll just stand on the other side of the road, but there's houses on the other side here. I don't want to disturb anyone, but it is a good view. Look at that, stepping back in time. And as mentioned there, it was built to house originally cinema type films, because silent films were prevalent at the time. And then it is the oldest single screen venue in Liverpool, and I'm delighted to say the generosity of an anonymous donor, so philanthropy is alive and well, has allowed this place to be bought, and it's been issued a long lease. Therefore, the community interest company, who have been raising funds they initially wanted to buy it, but someone's bought the building to take that headache away, and all of the funds raised can now be used to refurbish the place and get it up and running. So when that happens, I'm sure you'll hear about it, because it'll be newsworthy in the media around Liverpool particularly. And it cost, get on this, around £8,060 to build when it was first constructed in 1926 through 28. I don't know why it's 8,060. I don't know what the 60 was for, but that's what the research flagged up, that's how much it cost. It incorporated a 27-foot proscenium arch inside, which is a arch sort of tunnel that separates the performers from the audience. So it's like you're sitting in the chairs looking up, or wherever you are, and then you've got the stage and there's an arch in front of the stage, so it's like you look through a window to the performer behind it. And that was 27 foot tall in there. And it also had Cayley projectors, K-A-L-E-E, and they were used for the screening of silent films. And I think it was around 1929, 1930 that talking pictures started to become more common, so silent films were falling away. And then when you do watch, if you are interested in old movies like myself, when you watch the initial talking pictures as they were known, you can see that the actors always look like they're overacting. You're like, why are they moving their hands so much and doing this, that and the other? And it's because they were trained to perform in silent movies, so they had to gesticulate and use movement to show exactly what they meant, because the words weren't being said until moving pictures become basically commonplace. And that's a little bit to keep your eye out. If you do watch old films like me, just watch and see if you can notice it yourself. But it has, being 860 seats, it's quite a lot of capacity, and it did get reduced over time. And that got reduced to initially, I think, something like 256 seats, and then they added carpets and made it a little bit more comfortable, so it wasn't all tightly packed. You had a bit more room in there. And the orchestra pit, because it also had an orchestra pit just under the stage, that used to be played in by the Belle Vale Orchestra. So not too far away from here is Belle Vale, and they had their own orchestra who used to play in the pit when live performers were on, standing on the stage. Sound equipment was added in the early 30s and CinemaScope in 1955, and the first film under CinemaScope was No Business Like Show Business, which was screened on the 31st of October 1955 in this here theatre. And I'm not going to sing it for you, but you'll know what the song goes like. So I'll spare you that one. And over time it did pass through a few different owners, one of them being the Cheshire County Cinemas in around 1954, and they owned it up until 1992 when David Wood bought it. And David Wood is the grandson, or the great-grandson, I can't remember which, of Liverpool cinema pioneer John Frederick Wood. So in keeping with the family tradition, David Wood bought it and kept it open as a cinema. And I did watch a film in here. I can't remember what film I watched, but my mate took me when I was home on leave from the army one day, and we watched a film in here. As I say, I can't remember what film it was, but it did operate as a picture house up until 2020, when this, along with many other businesses, closed down during that era of egregious tyranny. And then now, as mentioned, funds have been raised, the building's been bought, and hopefully it's going to be up and running very, very soon. But the ground rent as well for the people who've bought it, or sorry, the person who bought it, give a long lease, and the ground rent is £19.27 a year, or the ongoing rent for the building, the service charge or whatever. And that's in keeping with the predominant history that says that this was opened in 1927. But as mentioned, we know it was started to be built in 26 and opened in 28. And even here, look, it's got Woolton Picture House 1927 on this here sign. But yeah, it's like stepping back in time, this. And there's some information about what I think it might be recent. I don't know if that's recent or that's what they plan to show when they do open it. But when I filmed it, I'll leave a link at the end of this one to the video walking around all of Woolton Village. Basically, it was a very long video for my channel anyway. It's just short of 30 minutes long. And I did mention when I walked past here, I said, wouldn't it be great if they could open this and play some of the old films that, you know, we used to watch, or people of my age used to watch. So I was thinking, like, around Christmas, wouldn't it be great if they could put Die Hard on in here, and then all the lads can come in and watch Die Hard, and then you could put, you know, Terminator, Alien, all the films that we're never likely to see on cinema ever again. It would be good if there was some way, without breaching copyright or whatever, that you could actually play them films again and show them. Because I tell you what, there's some films out there that young people have never seen, probably because they've all been lost on DVDs and things. And I don't know anyone other than me and a few other people who've still got DVD players. But yeah, what a great building, and it is fantastic that it's going to be opening again. So listen, genuine well done to whoever that individual is, the anonymous gentleman or lady who provided the funds to purchase this place, and hats off to the community interest company, or the Friends of Woolton Picture House, or whatever they're named. Forgive me ignorance, I don't know who you are, but you know, well done to every single one of you for raising money, because that money can now be put to good use. And in an era where so much of our past is being systematically removed from our future, this to be opening again is a shining beacon for those of us who like to point out the positives about the city in which we live. And without resting on our laurels, the next task up here, in fact I'll walk up, the next task is to get that baths up and running, because there's a public baths, or what was a public baths, in a phenomenal building just at the bottom of this road. And the one in Lister Drive, which I've filmed, and again I'll leave a link to that here, that's been turned into an aquarium, which if nothing else is a great thing to do because it keeps the aquatic theme going. But this, I believe, is just closed and shuttered up, so there's nothing really going on with it at the moment. But maybe that could be the next project for another rich individual to maybe buy this and get it up and running. I don't even know if I can show you it, but it's down there somewhere. Where is it? That might be it there, I'm not sure. It's around there anyway, and you can see it on my other video, but there's a public baths around there on this wonderful street. So I'll leave it there, viewers. Thank you all very much for watching. Have yourselves a great day. And Scouse Farm, we'll see you all again soon.